red thing. And, a lot of people like to say that they do van life because they want to look at, like, some Colorado mountains or something like that, right? They want to go explore things. And for most people, that is true. But here, this is the Americans Get Driver's License Later in Life chart, which shows you 1983, 2008, and then 2018, which is the percentage of U.S. driver's license in different age groups, in percentage, right? So we can see just a downward slope. And that's not just because cars are, like they're EVs or whatever. No, it's just because things are getting so expensive. The cost of living is going up, inflation is skyrocketing, and wages haven't really compensated with that over the different years. I know when I was buying my first car, it was ridiculous. So a lot of people are just saying, screw it, I can't even buy a house. A lot of these teens that are looking to drive can't even afford a car, much less a house, right? And they still want to get their life started. As well as not a lot of people wanting to go to college anymore because it's just so expensive. And jobs are almost impossible to get. I mean, they're almost impossible to get because a lot of times you get, automatically thrown out if you don't have a certain degree and years of experience at an entry-level job. You can't even get a job at Best Buy now without having years of experience. So a lot of people just want to live the easy life, get Starlink internet, see the Colorado mountains or whatever the hell, and that's what they're doing in van life. So, I personally have no issues with that. I think that would be fun. I would personally just buy a Honda Element. I mean, it's everything I need. I truly do love that car. But today, we're not talking about the Honda Element. We're talking about van life vans. This isn't talked a lot about, right? A lot of people in van life like to talk about, fold down things, compactable things, how to make your kitchen last while driving. I'm not I don't want to be in any area where I don't know what I'm talking about, right? And I have no idea what any of that crap means. But what I do know exceptionally well, sometimes maybe in some point in time, is cars. And not a lot of people talk about the vans, right? The van is just a basis. But keep in mind, if you don't have a lot of money to keep maintaining your van, I just searched Colorado mountains. If you don't have a lot of money, probably don't have a lot to maintain your car. Well, not maintain your car, but if something breaks, you're on the side of the road. And when you're driving to these rural areas, you're going to need something that's going to be reliable. Personally, I would just say buy a Honda Element and then a small camper. And you can park the camper somewhere and drive the Element to town to get stuff. Set up your home base. But, hey, that's just me. That's not always an option. So today, we're going to talk about the van, starting from worst to best. This is the absolute worst pick. Now, these are cheap. Now, I haven't seen a lot of van lifers choose these because of reliability, right? They do their research. Unlike most car buyer people where they see a Hyundai that's cheap, they go, ooh, I'll buy it. A lot of van lifers actually do their own, experience. They do their own research, right? So $11,000, that's very cheap compared to most 2015 vans or $40,000. But this is a Chevrolet, which means it's awful. The build quality is terrible. It's very plasticky, and this was just a very, very, very cheap cash grab for Chevrolet. It was made between, what the year is this? 2015 and 2018. And all the years that it was made, it sucked real bad. Now, this car is a car that I hate a lot. Now, whenever I hate a car, I hate a lot of cars. Whenever I hate a car, it's for a specific reason. This has the badness of a Chevy with the CVT. That's right, this is just a rebadged Nissan with the CVT, that awful grinding, shitty transmit, that Nissan build quality on the interior. Look at that. That's a Nissan steering wheel. It's just a rebadged Nissan, Chevrolet Nissan. And my favorite part about these, very common actually, this front bit here, you'll see a lot of them are very damaged because the work that Chevrolet did do to rebadge it, they did it wrong anyway. So anything Chevy touches turns to crap, and this car was already crappy already. This is the worst van you can buy. You buy this, you did wrong, sell it immediately. I don't care what issues it has, it's not worth fixing, right? The next worst van on this list is the Nissan NV, which the other van is based off of loosely, right? I mean, not so loosely. Essentially, what happens when a car company wants to be lazy, but they don't want to sound like they're lazy. So they use the frame, but also they use a lot of body panels. It's a complete rebadge, but they pretend like they use the frame and the engine. Yeah. The only reason why the NV is any higher, even though it's just as unreliable, the only reason is it comes in a little bit bigger options, the NV series. And also, it's an actual Nissan. It's not claiming to be something that it's not, which I like more. It has a better steering wheel. These were made for, again, quite a while. starting year, 2012 through 2021, so they were made for a decent while longer than the shitty Chevy. Yeah, these are much better. I've seen them be big. I think that would totally make a great camper van. Remember, it has that awful grinding, van, the CVT transmission. Here's a high top one, a shorter one. I would go for tall and short. But yeah, again, not very high quality. It's just a Nissan. You know, if it has the Nissan badge on it, run away as fast as you can. None of these are good. The next one we're moving on to is the Ram ProMaster. Now, this is going to be a very quick video because remember, a lot of car vans are just rebadged versions of the same. So the only reason why I included the Chevrolet, even though it's just a shitty Nissan, I mean, look at the steering wheel. It's just because I think it's so absolutely terrible that I needed to talk about how terrible it was, right? This is the Ram ProMaster. Now, a lot of people buy these. Oh, by the way, they've been making them for not that long. This is a 2014 ProMaster. However, they've been making them for a while, but not as long as you think they would. Now, they're not bad vehicles. These are actually decently reliable. You know, where Chrysler, because remember, this is Stellantis, Chrysler, it's all the same people, right? They design a lot of these vehicles. Fiat does. Fiat's behind everything. You know, they own all these companies. Well, used to, before Stellantis bought them out. But, like I said, it's all the same design. Where Chrysler and a lot of the other car companies tend to go wrong is when they try to do fancy stuff. You know, when they try to do interiors, right? When they try to do anything fancy with anything, it always goes wrong. It always blows up in their face. They always do a sucky job at it. You know, heated seats, they catch on fire because they did it poorly and wrongly. This doesn't have a lot of those, so I will say this is one of the most reliable Rams you can buy. The trucks are decent, I guess. I mean, the only issues that these really have, number one, they're extremely cheap. I know you can't tell by the $56,000 price tag, but buy a used one, it's much better. These have rusting issues. What happens is, because they're so cheap, brand new, right, they're very cheap, a lot of people just buy them, like contractors. They get absolutely rusted out. They get, you know, they drive thousands of miles, and then they get sold to VanLifers, and then they break down. So these vehicles, when new, were probably one of the more reliable Stellantis vehicles. I would buy a newer one, but with that price tag, again, if it's a decent, like, nice car, like this is a new one, I won't say it's worth it. If it's something like, if Toyota made a van and it was this much for a brand new one with only 29 miles, that's good. But, like, 4 years down the line, this thing's going to be a turd. You know, a lot of these down the road, again, in my opinion, any awful, terrible vehicle with proper maintenance will last a decently long time, right? You can see people with awful cars, like the Chevrolet Equinox, right, get to 250,000 miles just because they took it every single week and, you know, like a psychopath wrote everything down in a journal and maintained everything, you know, before it could go wrong. You know, if you take care of your car like that, it will never go wrong. A car will last forever if you treat it that way, as long as parts keep coming in and you're willing to spend money, right? But the issue is, a lot of these vans, like I said, they're driven thousands of miles, and oil change is a stretch sometime for these. So definitely buy a decent one if you're buying one of these, just because the reliability isn't bad. But like I said, if it's something like a Toyota Corolla, let's say you're buying a used Mercedes, a used Merc, that's going to be a lot well taken care of than a used Corolla of the same age, just because, you know, if you have enough money to buy the car when new, you probably have enough money to maintain it, right? Now, the best van, Ford, I'm sure you've already guessed it. Yeah, of course it's this one. Come on, what other company would it be? American car companies are very interesting. And I've never found which one I like the least, right? So, Chevrolet, I've driven a Chevy. I know how awful they are. I've had to deal with the experience of maintenance. It's awful. I've never directly driven one. I borrowed my friend's ones for a week, his Equinox 2013. I hated it. It was my least favorite car I've ever driven in. And I drive the Prius. It was slower than my Prius. At least felt that way. Very annoying, right? Chevrolets, they're built poorly and they're just not all that great, right? Chrysler is more incompetent than like GM, they know what they're doing, right? They cut corners intentionally to save money on crap, right? Stellantis Chrysler is just incompetent. They have no idea how to build a car in the first place, much less how to accurately cut corners, if they do at all, right? That's kind of my issue with them. So Ford is kind of both, right? They're They're like those people that think that they're really smart, but they're actually really stupid. They think that they're doing a lot of like sneaky things, and then it blows up in their face. Like the Pinto, that's a perfect example of Ford. They can make good cars. Look at the Focus. A lot of those Focuses have lasted hundreds of thousands of miles. You know, a lot of them are exceptional. But when Ford does Ford and they're trying to like cut corners in some way and they think that they're being so clever, it always blows up in a way that they didn't expect it to, right? Literally blows up. Pinto. You know, they still do that today. I feel like they still cut corners, but this is definitely the best van. Out of all these vans, which one would I personally, remember, I'd get the Element in the thing just because I want like a Japanese reliable vehicle. I'm not saying that I prefer Japanese brands over American ones. There's a difference, right? A lot of people like to say that I'm biased, right? When I see a Japanese brand, I think, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Which is not true because I hate Nissan. But the only reason why I like Japanese brands as a whole is because most Japanese brands are good. I mean, think of American brands. Name one good American brand that does not have any major issues. By the way, I'm going to make a video on the Chevy Shake. How embarrassing. But yeah. So essentially, name any great ones, like up there with Toyota in that reliability. Ford sometimes, Chrysler, perfect, you know, the sun and the moon have aligned, you know, sometimes Dodge if you buy like a decent Avenger or Dart or something, and never really GM. Yeah, not really, you know, just as a whole, Japanese brands are just better, because they're just better brands, right? So Ford, I think, is my favorite of the American brands. But don't, like, I'm not going to go out and buy a Ford right now. Like, ooh, I'm going to sell my Prius and buy a C-Max hybrid. No, not at all. Ford's still bad. But out of all these vans, which one would I trust the most to step into? I would trust the Ford, right? And again, they can be very expensive. Like this $53,000 2024 model, or this $15,000 2015. That's the cost of an average car, and this thing's much better. So yeah, just buy the Ford. There's not really much else I can say on this topic. Remember, with regular cars, there's always stuff that I can make fun of them for. Vans, it's like making fun of wallpaper. Not with any iconery, you know, not with any icons on it. Just plain slate wallpaper. You can say it looks like it belongs in a grandma's house. That's it. There's nothing else to comment about. That's like these vans, right? I can't comment on the leather or whatever because it's a van. You don't care about that. You're gonna tear apart the entire interior anyways. Why would you care about that? Why would I care about that? So yeah, with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. If you're wondering why I'm more introspective, like I don't usually talk like this. Like I'm talking very quick, but also very James Bondy. I have no idea. I guess it's been a very long day. I'm filming at the end of the day when I film at the beginning and then edit later. Just have a lot. So yeah, maybe I'm just better when I'm tired, right? I'm thinking things out more. Although if I got anything wrong, please feel free to scold me in the comments. But please make sure you punctualize correctly, because I will laugh at you if you leave a mean comment and you do not punctualize correctly. Anyway, punctualize? Wow, I'm tired. Anyway, I will see you guys soon. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Fun video. You know, I think this was relatively fun.